Hey, lovers! Welcome to the Book Lovers Club, the podcast where we celebrate Black Sapphic love stories, one book at a time. I'm your host, Joy, a married lesbian, lifelong book lover, and relational communication scholar. Here, we don't just read the romance, we learn from it. I believe that love stories can do more than just entertain us. They can teach us how to love better, how to see ourselves more clearly, and how to create the love life of our dreams. Each week, I'll dive into sapphic stories written for us and by us, while weaving in personal insights and communication lessons you can take off the page. So grab your drink, get cozy, and let's turn the page together. Welcome to the club. Hey, book lovers, welcome back to another episode of the Book Lovers Club. I missed y'all. I hope y'all are having a good week. I am very excited for the weekend to be here. It's Mother's Day weekend. My family is having some Mother's Day activities, and I'm just excited to celebrate all the mamas in my life, okay? So happy Mother's Day to everybody who has birthed life into this world, all right? I see you and I appreciate you. This week also kicks off the new WNBA season. So I'm excited. I already told y'all because women's basketball season is starting. We're reading some women's basketball sports romance books this month. So for those of you who are new, we read two books together each month, and then I come on this here pod to talk about them. And so this month, we are reading Love and Sportsball by Meka James and She Got Hops by Joy Minor. Okay, so hopefully y'all listened to last episode and went and got y'all books and started reading them already. So I'm almost done with Love and Sports Ball, and y'all, I am really enjoying the book. One of my book besties told me that y'all been calling this book Love and Straps Ball on the interwebs, and I get it now, okay? I get it. Look, all I'm saying is Shay be putting my girl through the mattress, but it's good. It's a good book, and I think that my book clubbers are going to enjoy this one this month. All right, but we're going to talk a little bit about it today. I'm actually listening to the audiobook. So last week I told y'all I have developed an audiobook addiction, and it is unreal. But I am currently bouncing between an audiobook and an ebook because I'm also reading our other book pick, which is She Got Hops by Joy Minor. And y'all, the book is so good so far. Oh my God, it starts off so messy. I got hooked just in the prologue, okay? So I'm currently reading She Got Hops on my Kindle because Miss Kendalisha, she ain't getting no play in a couple of weeks now because I have been deep in my audiobook bag, okay? I've been listening obsessively to them damn books. Are you someone that's like me that likes to juggle reading multiple books and then also juggling books in multiple formats? So reading an audiobook at the same time while you're reading an ebook. How my brain looks at it is like I'm watching TV and there are TV shows on different channels. So I might pause this one show and then check out another one. So I like juggling multiple books. But yeah, I'm currently listening to the audiobook for Love and Sports Ball. And then I didn't realize, like, one of the narrators for Love and Sports Ball, I am a fan. So Lauren Nichols was also one of the narrators for A Little Kiss in Between Friends. And I love her voice. She narrates in a way where you really feel like you're on FaceTime with a friend. Her voice is just so sultry. Like, she has such a good narrating voice, and she's one of my favorites. But, now that I have been listening to the audiobooks more, I just have a deeper appreciation for the narrators. So another audiobook narrator I just want to take a moment to shout out is A.M. Elizabeth K. So she is one of the sponsors and a workshop facilitator for the Book Lovers Fest, which is the Black Sapphic Book Festival that I am hosting on September 19th and 20th. And she has narrated a lot of the books for some of the authors that are participating in the festival. So you probably have already listened to her because we've read two of those books together, which was Peaches and Honey by Carmen Lee and Where There's Smoke by Erica Alexander. So I just want to give her a shout out because she's going to be facilitating a workshop during the festival on audiobook narration and talking a little bit about her journey as a narrator and sharing tips for anybody that's interested in entering the industry. So please make sure you grab a ticket and come and join us so that you can hear directly from one of the narrators. And I just want to give her a shout out because now that I'm listening to more audiobooks, I just have a deeper appreciation for the art form and for voice acting, and I am a fan. But the book, Love and Sportsball, is off to such a great start. And it just really set a tone for me for the month. However, I'm just really excited for the WNBA season to start. One of the reasons why I am so excited is now, don't judge me, y'all, but I am a huge fan of Ellie the mascot. Look, Ellie the mascot is my girl. I actually felt like I was cheating on the Chicago Sky because of how much I love Ellie. I'm so excited that with this new season brings us new Ellie content. And she been dropping videos leading up to the season opener. And it's all been Whitney Houston themed. And I'm like, ooh, is her halftime show gonna be a Whitney tribute? I can't wait because Ellie gives me so much life. I want to go to a New York Liberty game just so I could be in the arena to be able to cut up with my girl. Is anybody else following her? Like, she is my favorite. And you know, the Chicago Sky tried to update their mascot, I feel like, so that they could be competitive with Ellie. However, Ellie is in a league of her own. Like, look, I'm going to just give props where props are due. That mascot came in here and changed the game. Okay, she really changed what it means to be a mascot, what it means to be a mascot for a women's sport, and just the ripple effects of what she's done. And I'm just here for it. Okay, and I know it's got to be one of us in that suit. It's got to be a black person in that suit. Gotta be. And you know, I was already supporting Liberty because I am a big Vandersloot fan and I call her my sloot boo. Okay? That's my sloot boo. You know, so when she went to New York, I'm going to support the players that I enjoy. Like, look, it's always Chicago over everything, Chicago over everything. It will always be Chicago over everything. But how we fumbled Angel Reese, like, people still been talking about it. Like, I feel like we've been talking about women's sports for a while now. So I'm excited for the season to officially start. And then while I'm watching these games with my wife, I'll be reading some sports romance books. So I'm just excited. I think May is going to be fun. It's going to be a good time. I have a lot of books on my TBR, and I don't actually know if I'm going to get through all of them, but we're going to try. Okay, I got some arcs that I got to read. So remember I told y'all that I was going to do a reread of the previous books in Jessica Cage's Accidents Happen series. So the fourth book is coming out this month. I Accidentally Locked Down a Witch comes out on May 26th. So she came on my pod. We talked about it. I'm super excited. Well, I got approved for an advanced copy of that book. So I am going to be reading this book before y'all will. So I got a lot of books that I'm trying to read this month, okay? But there are some books that I wanted to tell y'all about that if you want to read them with me and add them to your TBR, I am always in the market for a book bestie. So if y'all are reading with me, just slide in my DMs. Several people do this often. Will slide in my DMs and talk to me about these books and will make recommendations for me to read and stuff like that. So if you got some other sports romances, specifically women's basketball, sports romances that are sapphic, let me know because that's what I'm trying to read all month long. So with that, one of my new book besties, she slid in my DMs and made a recommendation. And I went and looked the book up on Goodreads, and I really want to read it. Hopefully, I will get to that this month. But the book she told me about is Half Court Shot by Kamani May. And I'm excited for this book, y'all. So hopefully I can get to it this month. But it has a fake dating trope. So it's a sapphic sports romance, basketball romance, and it's fake dating. So a WNBA player gets traded to a new team. At the new team, she's reunited with an old flame. And then they enter into a fake dating relationship. And I love fake dating tropes. That's really one of my favorites. So I'm definitely gonna be reading that. So Erica Alexander, she also has a WNBA sports romance series called the BR Bayou series. Anytime people are on the internet asking for some sapphic sports romance recommendations, people tend to recommend this book series. It's very popular. I've read the first two books in the series, so that's Down South Bayou and Deeply Loved Bayou, and I really enjoyed them. But she dropped the third book in the series, Always There Bayou, last year, and I still haven't read it. So my plan is to read that this month as well. Another book I wanted to put on y'all radar, it's not out yet. It's a new release. It's coming out. But Zakaya and Jamal, she also has a sapphic basketball romance that's coming out on November 17th. Okay, that book is called Two Can Play That Game. It's a sapphic romance novel about a fake relationship between a WNBA star and a popular social media influencer. So I just told y'all, I love a fake dating trope. However, when I went and read the premise, it sounds a little similar to Half Court Shot. So now I want to read it so I could compare. So I want to see how are the books similar and where do they differ, because they at least overlap with the fact that it's women's basketball, a sapphic romance with a fake dating trope. So now I need to see how similar or where these books differ. But that comes out on November 17th. And I really like Zakaya and Jamal's writing. So I read her young adult book, If We Were a Movie, and I love that book so much, y'all. It was a 5-star read for me. I like young adult books and I will read them often. I feel like because they don't have spice like that in them, the romance tends to be really good. And I love it. I love a good young adult romance book, okay? Actually, I read young adult fantasy, young adult thriller, because The Scammer by Tiffany D. Jackson is so good. And that book is considered a young adult book. That book was so good. So, anyway, I just like the young adult genre. And like I said, I think because they can't rely on spice and smut to sell the book, that the romance and the tension and the yearning and things tend to be really good. But if we were a movie, 5-star read for me. And that's when I fell in love with her writing. So I am excited for this book that's coming out. But that book, if y'all are interested, so one of the characters, she gets a job at a local movie theater. And the girl that ends up being her supervisor is her rival from school. So they're both like academic rivals because she's trying to be valedictorian and this girl is like her biggest competition. And then y'all know, I really do love forced proximity. That's like one of my favorite tropes. I really love a good forced proximity. So we're going to talk about it because Love and Sportsball has a workplace romance trope, and workplace romance and forced proximity tend to overlap. Like, they're like interconnected tropes because, coworkers, that's naturally a forced proximity when you have to work with someone. So, now that I'm sitting here thinking about if we were a movie, it's technically a workplace romance. And then Love and Sports Ball has a workplace relationship. Hopefully, y'all started this book. Y'all, it started off really good. Last week, I read the description for the book. So, if you haven't started it yet, this isn't a spoiler. It is the description of the book. So, the two FMCs, we got Khadijah, who is an athletic trainer, and we got Shay, who is a WNBA player for the team Atlanta Cannons. They have a one night stand. They get freaky deaky in the club, okay? They have a one night stand. Then the next day, they find out that they work together. Khadijah just got a new job working for the team that Shay plays on, but they was just tussling in the sheets, and now they're thrust together in the workplace. My type of book, okay? My type of book. And it really had me thinking this week about workplace romances and just the pros and cons of workplace romances. The workplace romance trope, I wouldn't say it's like one of my favorites, but I guess it is. I never really thought about it. But because forced proximity is like one of my favorite tropes, I tend to like a lot of workplace romance books. it really had me go down this rabbit hole because I've never engaged in a workplace romance. I am someone that is very much from the camp of don't shit where you lay. I'm not gonna mess with anybody at work and then have any potential drama in my workplace. That's just not something I'm gonna do. It's never interested me. I also have never worked with anybody that I found attractive like that I would even want to consider dating. But it's very common. So Love and Sportsball made me go down this rabbit hole, y'all, because, Khadijah is just so adamant about not dating somebody at work. And I'm rocking with her. I'm like, I feel that. I really do. But to be fighting every day against an attraction that you have to your coworker like this also ain't the move. That also ain't the move either. So I'm like, also understanding where Shay coming from. Like, fuck this job. Like, I want you. Okay. But I do get where Khadijah's coming from because that's something I think about. Like, if this relationship doesn't work out, now I got drama in the workplace. People gonna be gossiping about us. I'm not trying to have none of that mess in my job. I don't want none of that shit happening up in here. Okay. So I really do get where she coming from. So, I went and did some research because it got my wheels a turning. Because I've never engaged in a workplace romance, but in doing some research, y'all, I didn't realize how common that it is. Over 60% of people have engaged in a workplace romance before. So I found this article on Forbes that did a deep dive into workplace romances, and it shared some survey data from a human resources website. And I just didn't realize it was that common that over 60% of people have engaged in a workplace romance. And it's just not something I'm willing to consider. I just don't like drama at work. I come here to collect my check, okay? I don't want no drama. I don't want to be the source of entertainment for people. But some people really like workplace romances. Depending on the type of job that you have, we're literally always at work. Okay, and some people, they spend more time with their coworkers than they do their loved ones, depending on how many hours they clock in at work. Some professions, like being a lawyer, being a doctor, that require you to put in a lot of time in the office. Some corporate offices require a lot of hours. You dead ass could see your coworkers more than you see anybody else, which, like I said, that forced proximity, that's my favorite trope, but it does create the perfect atmosphere for romance to grow. If you always around these people and then y'all have a shared passion for the work, you see them all the time, get to know each other, like, naturally romance can start to brew. So I do understand how that many people have engaged in a workplace romance, even though it's not for me. And some jobs, they do have that, what is it, a non-fraternization clause where they prevent you from dating people that you work with, or you got to go and disclose it to HR and go through all of these different hoops to be able to date. But, it's not something that I engage in, but I do like to read that shit on a page. So their survey found that about 43% of workplace romances actually lead to marriage. So even though it's something that I shy away from, some people have some success with it. Like they start dating a coworker and then they end up married. So I don't know what the divorce rate is for the workplace romances. I didn't discover that in my research. I'll follow up with y'all. I definitely didn't look up the divorce rate. However, 40% of workplace romances involve cheating on an existing partner. So basically, people are entering into these workplace romances, but it's because they're cheating on their partners. And that makes sense to me. So I told y'all in a previous episode, when I was in college, I took a class on deception. And we talked about infidelity and cheating and things like that. And the research shows that most of the time when people are cheating, they are cheating with a coworker. And it's because of that forced proximity. Y'all always together. It really does create the perfect conditions for romance to occur. So it does lead to more increases in infidelity and instances of cheating with coworkers. That common lie, I was working late and all of that stuff. Do y'all remember when that CEO, I forget what company, but they were at the Coldplay concert and the camera panned to him and he was cheating with one of the people that he worked with? And then that shit got blew up and amplified. Like, it's pretty common for people to be cheating on their partners with these coworkers, okay? So there are some workplace romance books that I love. Prior to reading Love and Sportsball, that wasn't a trope that I was really thinking about as one of my favorites. But now that I've had some time to self reflect, I think it is. If you're someone who likes this book and you like a good forced proximity workplace romance, I also want to recommend Outdrawn by Deanna Gray. So we haven't read that book together for the podcast, but I have talked about it a little bit in previous episodes because I buddy read it with one of my book clubbers. And it's one of my favorite Black Sapphic books. It's a Rivals to Lovers, which is one of my favorites, between two comic book artists. And then The 710 Split by Carmen Lee. So that's also a workplace romance between two teachers. And it's also another Rivals to Lovers themed book. Also, The Holiday Truce by D.O. Robinson. So that book and then the sequel, Already Know, that is also a Rivals to Lovers workplace romance book, but it's set around like Christmas time. Another book, so these aren't sapphic, but I accidentally hired a shadow walker. So that's book 3 of Jessica Cage's Accidents Happen series. But she hires someone and now they're forced to work together. So it's like a workplace romance, Black fantasy, but it was really good. Really good. Okay. Also, Plus Size Player by Danielle Allen is also another workplace romance that I love. If you like a spicy ass book, it's not sapphic, okay? So I know a lot of my listeners do not like to read books that involve the heteros. I just love Black romance. Okay, so I love my sapphic books. I also read just Black romance. But this book is spicy. Spicy, spicy, spicy. But Captivated by Danger by India Carter. That book is so good. So good. But do y'all have any workplace romances that you like? Because please, I am always in the market for some book recommendations or at least some forced proximity. So, have you actually ever dated somebody at work? I'm curious. How was that? I'm going to put a poll on my social medias, okay? I'm going to put a poll online because now I need the tea. I've never done it. I've never done it, but I'm curious if you have. If you ever dated a coworker. And how did it work out? Did y'all end up like the 43% that ended up down the aisle? Did you marry your coworker? Was it messy? Did it end up being super dramatic? A really bad breakup? Did you have to switch jobs because of it? Because that is actually very common too. I found in the research that people will end up getting a new job so that there's not a conflict between them anymore. So they don't end up working together. But I'm curious, do you have a work wife? Okay. What y'all doing at work with these coworkers? Y'all fucking them? Give me the tea. I want to know y'all business. Come find me. Okay, I'm gonna put a poll up. But yeah, I want to know. Have you knocked down one of your coworkers before? Are you currently doing it? Did you cheat on someone you were dating with the coworker? How did that work out for you? Okay, are you like my girl Khadijah? And she like, I know I can't resist you. However, we work together and I don't want no parts. I don't want to be perceived as being unprofessional. I don't want people thinking I'm unprofessional. Like, I don't want my reputation to be tainted by this. I don't want no parts. Or are you someone that's like, Shay, fuck this job. It's not finna prevent me from finding love. And I'm going to date who I want to date. Fuck this job. Are you one of them type of people? So, this ain't nothing I got to worry about because I'm married now. Okay? I just would not shit where I eat. I'm not going to do that. I had a situation before where I stayed in an apartment and I tried to befriend someone that stayed in my apartment. And the friendship ended up ending badly. I had to take her to small claims court. Judge Judy had reached out asking if I wanted to take my case onto her TV show. I don't like drama. I ain't want none of that. So I ain't do none of that. However, it was hella dramatic. And this is not a story time. I'm not finna tell y'all all of that, okay? I don't need that girl coming to find me. All right. But because we had this friendship that's soured, she started doing shit around the crib. And now my peace is at jeopardy. That's the thing I don't like. Okay, I am not somebody that wants my peace jeopardized because a relationship didn't work out. I don't like my money being funny. That's the Capricorn in me. I'm not finna fuck up my bag because of a relationship. But I'm a lover girl. I'm a lover girl. I love love. That's why I read romance. I love a happily ever after. I love romance. I love love. So I also don't think that if I really felt like I had a connection with someone and that this person could be my person, that I would let something like a job stop me from dating them and stop me from experiencing that. So I guess it just depends on the context, the situation, the type of policies that exist with HR. Is there actually a policy against this? And I'm somebody I would consider. Maybe not me, maybe you, but getting a new job, so that's no longer an obstacle, no longer a barrier. I don't know, but I love love. I don't think I would let something like a job stop me from dating somebody, but I don't know. I've never been in that situation, so I can't. You don't know what you'll do until you're in the situation sometimes. Like, you just don't know until it's you. But I could tell you right now that, nah, I'm not gonna mess up my bag over a relationship, especially now, but the Capricorn in me I struggle with that because I don't want to mess up my money. But the lover girl in me, I'm rooting for y'all and your workplace romances, okay? Especially that 43% who actually end up down the aisle and met the love of their life at work. So it could work. It could happen for you. Especially when you're like always around these people and you spend so much time with your coworkers. Of course, romance could occur. Well, come find me because I really want to know. Are you Team Shay? Like, fuck this job. I want you. Are you Team Khadijah? I know I want you, but I don't want to mess up my job. Let me know. Thank you for tuning in to the Book Lovers Club. If you love today's episode, make sure you subscribe so you never miss a chapter. And if you're feeling generous, leave a review because those reviews help other lovers find us. So if you want to keep this conversation going, please join me on Instagram or hop on over to Fable to join the virtual book club. And until next time, remember, the stories we read can help us write the love lives of our dreams. See you next Sapphic Saturday.